Okay, hello everyone. So this is our last webinar for Bixby DevJam, and this is Roger Kibbe. And we'll just get off this slide really quickly. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at Roger Kibbe. And no presentation today. We're going to leave it for open Q&A. Why don't you do your Q&A in the chat, and then I will work and answer those. And I'm also with my colleague Jonathan Pan, who's acting as kind of the moderator and looking at the Q&A, but I may defer to Jonathan on some questions as well. So with that being said, let me stop the share and go ahead and start firing away your questions in the chat.
Oh yeah, hey guys, John here, sitting right next to Roger. There I am. But yeah, I'll be here as well. So from Ramul Fox, CEO to everyone, I missed earlier webinars. That's okay, Ramul. They are on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/c/Bixby developers. And Mohan says, hello, Roger.
Perfect, I can see that. Yeah, so guys, any questions you have about the contest, about Bixby, this would be your, you should definitely be, if you haven't submitted your capsule, you need to get it in ASAP to be considered. So please go fire away any open questions you have.
Okay, so from Gonzo, he's asking, is there a REST API for Samsung Health or a way to read write to Health with the user's permission, of course?
So no, unfortunately not. So that's a great idea. I love what you could do with a capsule. But right now, the Samsung Health capabilities on the phone are not exposed to Bixby. But that sounds like a really cool idea. Definitely create a feature request if you go to bixbydevelopers.com. And you can go and create a feature request, and I'd love to see what you guys are thinking about there.
Okay, so from DigiVoice, Daniel Mittendorf, a capsule of my client has been in review for 11 days now. I know this is a question that gets asked quite often, but is this normal, and is there something I can do to speed things up?
Yeah, so no, it's not normal, but we got a massive amount of capsules submitted over the last week. And so things are very backed up right now, but we've added several team members, and several of us are doing our kind of off our day jobs and just doing capsule reviews right now. So we're working through that. If you have a particular one, why don't you reach out directly on Slack? Daniel, why don't you reach out to Jeff or Sarah directly on Slack, and let's take a look at that, because 11 days seems like a long time there. But bear with us. We are going through as fast as we possibly can.
All right. Excuse me. Next question is from Ramon Fox. Is there any advantage to using a Samsung S10 5G with Bixby?
So as far as the contest, absolutely not. So there's nothing. Bixby works the same across all of the phones, with the exception, I believe, of the S10 series and S10, maybe it's the Note 10. Has a new feature called, I believe, Bixby Routines. But that would really be, that's an end user feature, not something as far as development. But anything from a Samsung S8 and above that's been updated to the latest OS runs the exact same version of Bixby.
And just to also reinforce, we're doing a raffle at the end of this webinar as well. David will be doing that at the end. So.
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah. We're
having a raffle. We do it every webinar for capsules that have been submitted and approved. $500 reward. So hang around. You don't have to be present, but we'll do that at the very end of this.
Yes. Okay. So from Fred, I'm having trouble finishing my complex capsule. Can I still just submit 4x facts to collect the $300?
Yeah, I'd say yes. I'd say you need to get those in ASAP. So that would be a way to win those the $300. If you're among the first 250 that's submitted, a complex capsule would be a better way to win the bigger prizes, the 10K grand prize, the 5K second prize, or the prizes for each of the categories.
Okay. And from Daniel Mittendorf from DigiVoice again. That sounds great. Thanks, Roger. Smiley emoji. And from Gonzo, why are certain capsules like Yelp pre-enabled for Bixby? Also, why are some like 1-800-Flowers not able to be disabled?
Yeah, so to get out the door, we worked with some partners and pre-enabled some capsules so that when you use Bixby out of the box as an end user, it actually is functional. But with the addition of natural language categories, if you create a capsule, so for instance, you mentioned Yelp, which is obviously in the local category. If you create it, and also in restaurants, if you created a capsule that there was a competitor to Yelp, then you could go and the user can enable your capsule and have that be the default. So you want an example of that, that'd be like Uber and Lyft are both on Bixby. And if you enable one or the other, you can make them the default when you ask for a ride. So yeah, so some things were from a partnership perspective and to get Bixby out the door before we allowed development on it, pre-enabled, but kind of the future is less and less of that. And I forgot the second part of the question. There was the second part of that question.
Also, why are some like 1-800-Flowers not able to be disabled?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Some capsules, I believe, are just kind of part of Bixby's, like, I don't know, they've just kind of been set as like the core and you can't really disable them. Yeah, there's a certain group of them, to my knowledge. So Aaron Verma is asking, is there any category where capsule submission is very close to just 1 or 2?
So I don't have the updated stats. If you went to the last webinar, I provided a bunch of information about that. We'll try to take a look as the webinar goes, but that's a great question. I'll tell you what, we will go take a look and post to the Bixby Dev Slack after this to give you ideas of some places where you could go create a capsule there. But I can tell you it's probably not much change from what I talked about. It wasn't last week, it was the week before. I think there were 7 or 8 different category or store sections where there weren't a lot of capsules.
Off the top of my head, I believe travel and transportation is lacking, and smart home is lacking as well. So yes. And let's see. From Steven Arkanovich, can we get an update on the number of capsules submitted or approved, i.e. how many $300 prizes are still left?
Yeah, so I can't give you an exact number because we have to go through a bunch of calculations. It's everything approved since that's a new capsule since September 18th, and there's a few other limitations. But I'm going to throw out that right now, where we currently are, we're somewhere around 150. There's a bunch in the queue though, so we're getting pretty close to having certainly the number eligible to submit, but not all of those will get approved. So I'd say it's getting pretty tight right now. Sorry, I can't give you an exact number other than it's getting pretty tight.
Okay, so Frank Engelman is sharing this Stack Overflow link where Pete Haas helped fix a problem with persisting user data. Thank you, Frank. I'm sure that will help many developers who are looking to persist that type of data. And a question from Mike, do the $300 codes expire? And if so, when and can they only be used at Samsung.com or other stores that carry Samsung gear? So I can answer this question. The code expiration is December 31st, 2020. So you need to use the entire value of the code or else the leftover money is lost. And I believe, to my knowledge, you can only use it at the Samsung.com store.
Yeah, the US Samsung store is where they're eligible on.
Yes, yes.
The US, so store.samsung.com would be where they are eligible on. You need to ship to a US address.
I see. So the next question from Mike. I understand you can stack the coupons, but if you use a coupon and the full amount isn't used, what happens to the leftover money?
I don't know. Do you know how the coupons work?
In terms of the leftover money, I'm actually not too sure about that, Mike. If I get an answer from that or for that, I will let you know. That could be during the session, but yes, if not, we'll try our best to follow up with you to answer that.
Yeah, look on the Slack. Yeah, we
Yes.
can't answer that. Sorry. We are not the experts on the coupons at all. We're the experts
Yes.
on Bixby development there. So we'll get an answer for you.
Yeah. So the next question from Gonzo. The Linux IDE seems to keep logging me out. Is there a certain amount of time I should expect to have to log back in? Or better yet, is there a way to stay logged in?
So I don't know of a way to stay logged in. If you're, I mean, you should be that's unusual behavior. That sounds like a bug with the Linux IDE. Yeah, go ahead and file a bug if you keep on getting logged out and things. I will tell you that I use the Mac IDE and I don't have that issue, and I don't think we have it with Windows. So it's possible that there's a particular Linux bug. But yeah, you shouldn't be getting logged out. That's definitely a bug. I don't have any advice to you except please file a bug. And we'll definitely take a look at that issue. I haven't heard of that one before.
Okay, yeah. So the next question from DigiVoice, Daniel Mittendorf. I've been working with views a lot lately, and I was wondering why result views and input views don't support the same content. Wouldn't it make sense to support all result view content in an input view as long as there is at least one input element?
I'm going to tell you I agree with you, Daniel, and things. I don't know if there's an open feature request around that, but I definitely think that we should allow more capabilities in input views and allow things like cards and input views. So I'm totally aligned with you. We need to do it. Definitely open a feature request or find one there, and then if it's any consolation, you have internal fans here who totally agree with that concept that you should allow more stylizing of input views, not just result views.
Okay. So Fred Z is stated, I am not having that logout problem with Linux on Ubuntu 18. Okay, so as a follow-up to the earlier question from Gonzo. And John says, any categories that don't have submissions that I should develop for?
So that's kind of it was asked before, a little earlier about categories that don't have that. I don't have the updated information there for you, but I can tell you if you look at the webinar from 2 weeks ago that we gave you the ones that were low prioritization or low low participation, and so you should definitely target those, and we'll share on Slack an updated list of things that you can target. I mean, at this point, you're getting really close. You're going to have to develop really quickly to get into the contest for something like that. So go look on the Bixby on the Bixby store and find something that doesn't have anything in there and get it in.
Okay. So Daniel says, Daniel Mittendorf from DigiVoice says, we'll open a feature request. Thanks. No, thank you, Daniel. That is a feature that both Roger and I and many others would love. And from Planeta Software, ICP, aka in-capsule purchasing. When would that be possible? Thanks, Roger.
Yeah, so we call that premium capsules. I can't give you any deadlines other than to say we really, really want to enable that feature, and we're actively working on it. And that would be the ability to purchase in a capsule, really similar to what you see with our competition. So no dates I can give you other than it's high priority for us to get that out. I think that we need to enable that to enable monetization. It's a critical feature there, so it's definitely coming.
Okay, and the next question from, see if I can say your name correctly, Vinayak Junjunwala. How long is the review cycle currently?
So I think we were looking today, we're down to, with a couple exceptions, most things are about 5 days. But we've actually we've added a bunch of people to the team. We're trying to go faster and faster. I'll tell you, last week we got probably 50% of all submissions to date in a single week. So we're a little bogged down right now, but we are working on getting that going faster and getting as ASAP getting things reviewed.
Okay, so from Fred, what am I supposed to put in the developer notes during the submission? Just hashtag Bixby DevJam?
Yes.
Yes.
Actually,
answer.
along those lines, the other thing you need to do is we took a look and we noticed that some people had submitted several capsules, but haven't actually signed up for Bixby DevJam. So BixbyDevJam.com, need to go there and you need to sign up and make sure the email you use there is the same as the email you're using to submit capsules, because that's how we match them. But it's absolutely critical that you have signed up in Bixby DevJam in order to be eligible there.
Okay, so Mike is asking, if you have more than 4 capsules submitted for DevJam, can you direct which 4 capsules you'd like submitted for the contest, or do all capsules that were submitted during the contest timeframe get looked at?
All capsules get looked at.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you submitted, so it'd be your first, so if you've submitted 6, let's say, only the first 4 would be eligible for the $300 gift certificate, but all 6 would be eligible for the bigger prizes, the $1,000 per category, the 10K grand prize, and the 5K second prizes there.
Yes, so from Hassan Y, hi, with the reviews taking at least 8 days, are we past the deadline?
Great question, and a question I've been waiting for. So no, you're not, but you really need to get the capsules in. Here's what I will say. We are doing our absolute best to review as fast as possible, and we've literally increased the team size dramatically that's doing reviews right now. If you submit if you submit later than, say, end of day tomorrow, I'd say your chances are not great. So definitely get your capsules in today or tomorrow if you're going to submit, and we're doing our best to review all of them. And remember, so the first 250 that are approved will get the $300 gift certificate, but all that are submitted are eligible for the 1K, 5K, and 10K grand prize.
And also keep in mind that when we talk about, like, let's say review timeframes, we are talking about business days. Excuse me. From DigiVoice, Daniel Mittendorf, is there a page in Bixby developer documentation on what capsules won't get approved at all? Are there any guidelines to consider and think about when developing?
Yeah, maybe I'm not fully understanding. So we don't have a page that tells you these are the capsules that aren't going to get approved. I mean, so I assume you're saying for the contest. I just gave you some timelines there. We'll approve, it doesn't matter, above and beyond the contest, we continue to approve capsules, whether they're new submissions or updates. And there's guidelines to consider and think about when developing. Yeah, definitely. So particularly about submitting. So Jonathan has done a whole series of video tutorials on this. I'll ask him to paste in the Slack a link to our YouTube channel, and you can definitely take a look at that. And we'll, those are really just hints and tips and tricks about getting approved. And we've been doing this long enough now that we have a pretty good idea of the common causes for people not to get approved. So definitely check those out. But yeah, there's no, yes, above and beyond the deadline, but I'd love to see things where, we continue to approve anything and everything except if it's, it fails or is, inappropriate content, etc. there. Hopefully I'm answering your question.
Okay, so from Planeta Software, is it true Samsung allegedly ending support for Bixby Voice on some devices in January?
Patently false. I haven't heard that.
So,
I don't know where that's coming from.
I think I know which article he's referencing. He's talking about the article that's talking about Bixby 1.0.
Bixby. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so there's 2 versions of Bixby. There's the original Bixby and there's a new Bixby. So the original Bixby was a limited version of Bixby you couldn't develop for. that was a successor to something called S-Voice, and basically was focused on phone control. And I know that that is being, I think that's what Jonathan is referring to. Yeah, support for that is ending. So, but support for the new Bixby, so that's the Bixby you're all developing on, is not only, no, it's not, it's expanding actually. So as we announced at SDC about a month ago, you can now start developing not only for phones, but for watches, TVs, and appliances. And so the number of Bixby devices is going to dramatically increase over the next year. Not only all of our new, almost every smartphone we ship now, so all the S series and most of the A series now are Bixby enabled, and then all those new TVs, watches, and appliances. So things like TV, Samsung is by far and away the world's largest TV manufacturer, and Bixby will enable in those. So the number of devices is going to dramatically grow.
Okay. The next question from Vinayak Junjunwala. How many capsules are currently submitted?
You mean, I think you're asking how many for the contest. For the contest, I said I didn't have an exact count earlier. I said I believe there's about 150 that are approved for the contest. There's a lot of submissions in the queue.
Okay, so next question from DigiVoice, Daniel Mittendorf. No, I mean at all, like if there are any guidelines, what capsules you don't want to see on Bixby, like giving user health-based tips and collecting user data.
Oh, yeah. So, great. Okay, Daniel, I understand your question. Yeah. So health-based, so healthcare and voice, that's a whole topic in and of itself, because a fabulous area where voice can really help, and also where regulations, really privacy regulations, provide challenges. So here, HIPAA in the US, and I'm unaware of the privacy regulations globally or in the EU where you're located, but I'm sure they're equally or more strict there around patient information. So yeah, I know Bixby is not HIPAA compliant. So definitely things that would, health tips might be okay, but anything that where it personally identified you or knew about your medical condition is a no-no. Other than that, no. I mean, I think it's open to, as long, we don't want offensive content, and there's a set of rules there. But I think it's open. If you have particular ideas that you'd like to do, just reach out directly to us if you're concerned about it, and we can give you an idea of what's what might be a difficult area to step into. But I'd say generally anything and everything that's not offensive, and just if you're thinking about healthcare, regulatory issues become challenging there, and a barrier to overcome.
Okay, so from Ramon Fox, has there been any changes or updates to the Bixby approval checklist, October 2019?
I'm gonna let Jonathan, that's his checklist.
Sure.
I'm gonna let him answer that.
So I did make this checklist. However, we've updated the documentation to fully reflect everything in the checklist. So actually the documentation itself at bixbydevelopers.com, and if you search deployment checklist, I can post a link to that. That should be more up to date than the public checklist that I made back in October. So that checklist will be going away, the one on Google Drive. But for now, it's going to be there probably until the end of this month. So yeah. Next question from actually David O posted the link to the article. Thank you, David. And from Planeta Software to everyone, Mr. Rogers, tell me how to monetize the capsules.
Yeah. So good question. So I mentioned Bixby. So I mentioned Premier premium capsules that allow purchasing in the capsule coming. So that will be one way. The other way you can do it right now is, and you can see this, there was an earlier question about 1-800-Flowers. Ticketmaster is on Bixby. So they're actually enabling commerce on Bixby. And in their case, I'm supporting Samsung Pay. So that's integrated and built into the Samsung phones. And you can integrate that into Bixby and make it really, really easy for an end user to pay. Or obviously, if you have already an existing commerce site or capabilities and you allow login via OAuth, then you can enable people to purchase via Bixby. So either kind of direct commerce right now, or hang out and wait for premium capsules coming up.
Okay. Fred Z says there was an article explaining that old versions of Android would no longer support Bixby. And I believe that's the article that David O linked. From Gonzo, when does judging start for the category and bigger prizes?
Oh, great question. Yeah, so it starts next week. So we'll get everything, submitted and reviewed, and everything reviewed, and then we'll start taking a look at that. And we'll send out, so I don't think we've sent out details about when we'll announce the results, but we will definitely do that. We're probably overdue doing that. But yeah, we are going to be on top of that.
Okay, and next question from Simon. Are you planning more Bixby DevJams in the future?
Yeah, something like this. I don't know if it'll be exactly the same way, but I think we feel this has been successful, and we'll definitely consider things like this. And actually, I would ask the community or you guys, what did some feedback you could share on Slack is what did you like about this process, or what did you think could be done differently? Or even really cool, I'd love to hear if you have any creative ideas about a contest that would be really encourage people to develop for Bixby. That would be awesome. We're still small enough that we're pretty darn flexible. So if somebody has an awesome idea, we can do it. We'll go do it. So please share thoughts and ideas.
Okay, so from Fred, will the grand prize winner and others be announced before Christmas?
Yes, they will be.
Yes, they will be. Okay. From Gonzo, is Bixby COPA compliant?
Oh, great question. No, so we don't allow, so COPA, if anyone, what he's talking to is things targeted to children under the age of 13. So yeah, we do not have a setting to say this is targeted for children right now. So in that sense, no. I mean, there are some capsules out there that are probably more kid oriented, but they can't, so we would not allow it to be kid only. So if you're referring, so like Alexa, and I should know this because I created a skill that's for kids, but it's been a few moons, has a way where if you set it up and it's a kid compliant skill, and there's a couple things that the end user, extra steps they have to do to enable it. We don't have that yet. Definitely would like to enable it. I think kids love voice, so it's a great place to do that. Yeah, that feature, not yet.
All right, and then from DigiVoice, Daniel Mittendorf, wonderful. We'll reach out to you if anything comes up. Thank you for taking the time to answer.
Yeah, absolutely, Daniel, or anyone else there. If you guys have questions around thoughts or ideas, or this going to work, please reach out to us. I mean, the job of me and Jonathan and our other colleagues there is really to help you guys and help you guys build amazing experiences. So go do that. And one of the things I'd encourage you to do is kind of push the boundaries. One of the reasons I'll tell you, just a brief segue, I'm in voice is because I think we're still so early into it, and we haven't figured out, we've scratched the surface of what can be done there. So I would love to see some innovative things that really push the boundaries of what you can do with voice, and voice as an input or a conversational AI interface. So please, please, please do not be shy about reaching out with ideas and thoughts there, or share them, on the Slack, or share them. And one of the things I always say with ideas is you should always, if you, ideas are cheap, execution is hard. I've learned this doing my own startup, painfully. So don't be afraid to ask others about your ideas and see if they resonate there. I think that's a really good piece of advice for anybody, an entrepreneur, one that I didn't take as well as I should have. Anyway, back to the questions.
All right, so Simon, I believe, posted the email address to the support for Bixby.
Yeah, and the other thing you can do is actually do it within the IDE. Thank you, Lemon, and within the IDE, or you can do it on bixbydevelopers.com, and you can open a support ticket there.
Okay. And from Vinayak Junjunwala, I keep seeing the warning for countries needing to be specified now.
Yeah, so you need to add, what is that tag and things like that?
Store countries.
Store dash, thank you, Jonathan.
I think so.
To capsule.bxb, store dash countries, and that would be the countries that your capsule would be supported in. This is in kind of a hint of where we're going. And so you can put all, I believe, is the default. Jonathan, maybe you could find that in the docs and post a link in the docs to the particular section that shows you that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that is a new requirement representing things, our kind of internationalization strategy.
Okay, yeah, I just posted the link in the docs. And from Simon, please ignore my previous message. Oops, sorry, did not see that before. I did not ignore your previous message. From Mike, are there platform plans to include functionality for session data persistence?
So there's plans to, so we actually have a couple sample capsules. We have a sample capsule that shows you how to use rest.io, restdb.io for session data persistence. And I know we're going to create some other sample capsules, but if you'd like to see that in the platform, I am pretty sure, know there is a feature request for that. Please upvote that and provide any comments about how you'd like to see that work there. So definitely something we need to enable, whether we enable it in the platform or make it really, really easy to use third-party capabilities there.
All right. So
good question.
From Simon, 6 minutes ago, he received an email, or I received an email from support at bixbydevelopers.zendesk.com with the following content. Welcome to Bixby Developer Support. Please click the link. And there's a link, but I click it and it didn't do anything in my account that should have gotten this. So Simon, I'm not sure why you got this email, but I don't think it's probably too important. So, you probably don't have to worry about it. So from Planeta Software, we have an SDK to develop Bixby routines.
It's a cool idea. We don't have it, but I like the idea. Cool. I can see some cool stuff you guys could build there. Sounds like an awesome feature request. Thank you. Please keep those coming. Make a feature request if it's not already there, or upvote it if it's already there. That would be pretty interesting, and you're not the first person to ask about that.
Okay. So from Hassan Y, my capsule rejection cause was only due to the icon that needed to be changed. Don't you think minor changes like these need to be automated in the future? It's not efficient and it's time consuming for reviewers to redo the whole check just for an image that needed to be changed.
Couldn't agree with you more. So one of our to-dos is to build into the IDE a lot more checks around missing, you're missing, so a common thing that you're missing an icon, or you don't have store section. That's another common thing that people miss there. So we have to build that into the IDE, those kind of checks, so that when you submit something, the kind of automated things that we can do, we absolutely do. So absolutely, totally agree. We need to make this easier, which is better for everyone involved.
Yes. Absolutely. And Hassan, I'm not sure how much Bixby development you've done before this, but you will notice that there's a lot more checks coming from the IDE, but we are working hard to add more checks that can automate it. So from Fred, I'm getting rejections for very simple things like generic dispatch name. I had to go back and forth with several reviews. Is there anything I can do on my side to simplify the review of a one-line change?
Absolutely, there is. You can put in the comments, yeah. So when you guys submit something that's a resubmit, please, and you go on the web to finally submit it, and there's that area you put comments for reviewers. Tell us what you did. That really, really, really helps. If all you did is change something, I made a one-line change, or I fixed the deprecation, it will help speed up your review. I'd love to see more of those. Help the reviewers do their jobs to understand what changed or didn't change. It is very beneficial for you.
Yes. So from Vinayak Junjunwala, will the current capsule be rejected if it's not there? I'm assuming you're referring to the store countries.
Oh, no. I think you're referring to store countries. Just to clarify. No, nope. But what you need to do is add that. We're going to require you to add it to current capsules in the future. So you should definitely add it to things that you have that you haven't submitted, or add it in there. But you're going to have a couple months to do that.
All right. So from Hassan Y, does the icon.png need to be exactly 144 by 144? Is 160 by 160 okay?
Yeah, it's totally fine. So that's just a suggested size. Just to, right, it shows on the store, right? I mean, you can make a big giant icon and we'll shrink it down, but then you'll slow down your capsule actually. You know, one of the things I do talk about is Bixby is predominantly on mobile right now. People can be on the mobile networks. So if you notice, when you see your Bixby and use the capsule, you see the icon. So shrinking that and making that as small as possible size is beneficial, just like shrinking images and making them either the smallest size that works, or using tools online. There's one I particularly like called tinypng.com. There's others out there that take an image that might be high resolution and strip away all the unnecessary information and shrink it down to do that. I don't know. It's in my blood because I have a lot of web background, so I like automatically do that because there's too much web development. But yeah, it can be any square size works, but smaller is better because it'll make your capsule work faster.
Okay. And just the last bit of that question was, what's the limit for the icons, like size limit? And I think you answered that.
I don't know if there is a limit.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure there's a limit, but I mean, anything over 144 times 144 is going to get, that's the size I believe on the marketplace. So anything below that is just going to get shrunk to that size.
Okay, so from Aaron Verma, every time a new version of Bixby Studio releases, some property versions get deprecated. Don't you think this should be automated? Like developers shouldn't have to update their capsule on every major update.
Totally agree with you. We have some work to do there. Stay tuned. We got to do a lot better there. So yeah, that's a reflection of kind of the, you know, we're still an immature platform, and that's an immature part of the platform. So all I can do is sympathize and say that you have a very strong agreement on this side on that thinking.
All right, so from Gonzo, I want to update an existing capsule that was already approved. Is there a date I should submit for certification so that the judges can see the most up-to-date capsule?
Well, yeah, like I said, you need to get your capsule. If you want to have a good chance to be part of the contest, you really need to submit that update today or late or sometime tomorrow. Past that, we'll do our best, but it's going to be difficult. So get it in, absolutely. You can absolutely update things. Get them in ASAP.
All right, so DigiVoice, Daniel Mittendorf says, I think for the next DevJam contest, it would be best to set an end date for submissions, and not that all capsules have to be live by the end date. That would help us as developers and you as well, because you would have a bigger time frame for reviews. This has come up on Slack just a few minutes ago, and I wanted to post this here.
Cool. Yeah, like I said, I think that's Daniel. I think that's a great idea. Please, you know, this is the first one. Well, it's the first public one we ran. We did a private beta, something similar last year. But we're learning. So if you have ideas like that, please post them on Slack and do that. And things, we can only do better next time. So I agree there's opportunity there.
Okay, so from let's see, from Hassan Y.
Skip the one, sorry.
Oh, okay, sure, we can. I guess
We're just gonna think if you made it. So if it's just a thank you, we're gonna just jump to questions because I think we're running behind in things there. This is just about an icon.
Okay. So from Mike, other than the simulator and the IDE,
Oh, and we're not. Okay.
can we test on a device without the capsule going through the submission approval process?
Yeah, so you can definitely do on-device testing. So if you, any Samsung device, a phone right now, S8 and above, that is running the new Bixby, you can definitely do what's called on-device testing. Matter of fact, I highly, highly recommend it. We have instructions in the, Jonathan, you think you can find those instructions for on-device testing? Basically, you go in to do a couple things to kind of enable developer mode for Bixby. And then you turn on device testing. And then you guys will see there is a little submission ID that's like this string of characters. And you enter that in and you can test your capsule on device. I will always say that you should always do that. Now, I will know there are some people who don't test on device, but it's anytime you're building anything, always best to test it on the device that the end users are using. So that's totally completely possible. And I see Jonathan linked to that. Any questions about that, please reach out to us, but highly recommended.
Mm-hmm. So from Fred, can I stack multiple store credits on limited time Cyber Week offers?
Yeah, so now I know you can stack the store credits. So yeah, absolutely. So if you want one of the new phones or a TV or that, there's some pretty cool sales going on right now. So go definitely take a look at those.
All right. We caught up to the question. Well, Fred just posted a new one. And how do I know which devices support the new Bixby?
How do I know which devices support the new Bixby?
Say it's mostly newer ones, right?
Yeah. So it would be all the S8 phones. So we don't even sell those anymore. I think it's S9 and S10 phones support the new Bixby. The higher end tablets. The watch, I think all of the watches that we currently sell are going to support Bixby or do. And on the TVs, I'm going to admit I'm going to have to go look up the TVs. I think some of the really low end TVs don't. But I know the most of the smart TVs do. So we'll get back to you on Slack or post that question on Slack. That's a really good one. And I just, particularly the TVs, I don't know. And then the appliances is pretty obvious because they're smart fridges that have Bixby built in. You can see on, you can buy.
Okay, so from Planeta Software, Galaxy Buds and Bixby are compatible?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so you can use Galaxy Buds and summon Bixby as the voice assistant. They work great. And I will say, I actually think there's a lot of kind of, in-ear kind of hearables is the industry term around that. There's a lot of energy around, hey, what can you do voice-wise with hearables and that, and bring it to where people are walking around, and how would that expand the options for voice interface? Definitely a place where I don't think the industry has done enough. Maybe you could build something really, really cool that involves primarily use case would be using Galaxy Buds and walking around and using voice and having a conversation or walking around. I think when my creative juices start flowing when you say that, so go build something cool there.
Okay, so a question from Frank Engelman. Is there a list of Samsung phones that Bixby capsules run on? I've heard S8 and above, but I found that they work on an A50. So I guess just kind of Roger kind of covered that.
Yeah, we'll get your list in Slack. Sorry, I don't have that off the top of my head and things. I know it's obviously S8 and above, and then several of the A series. I think most of the new A series do that. So it's most of the. I think there might be some really low end smartphones that don't, but I don't know those model numbers. I'll have to get back to you on that. Sorry, guys.
Okay, so from Vinayak Junjunwala, our reviews of live score capsules are stalled because there's no live match going on. Any way around it?
I don't understand your question.
Yeah.
Sorry. What do you mean there's no live match going on?
Yeah, so feel free to clarify in the chat, Vinayak, and then we'll try to get
Yeah, sorry, I'm not following your question. Happy to.
Yeah. So Gonzo just mentioned his 850 is working. So from Wilco, are you still giving out $300 coupons for accepted capsules?
Yeah, but like I said, we're getting close. I believe we're getting close. So earlier I said we've gone and done about 150 capsules. I think it's an approximate number that have been approved and there. And so that means there's 100 more to go, but we also have a bunch of submissions in the queue. So it's getting tight at this point. I would get something in. And remember, even if so there's the $300 prizes, but even if you don't win the $300 prizes, you built something really amazing, you're definitely eligible for the $1,000, 5K, and 10K prizes. That is unlimited number of capsules are eligible for those as long as they are submitted and approved in time.
Okay, so from Aaron Verma, I'd like to suggest one thing, that for next time, it'd be great if you could provide coupons for every store country so that developers from non-US countries can get their prizes easily.
Sure, sounds good. Please add that. Yeah, totally get it. And we'd love to go get more global development, and that's a great way to do it. So completely agree with that. Please add that in Slack. Maybe we'll start a little thread about suggestions for next DevJam. Great idea.
All right, so from Fred, my capsule supports OAuth. Should I expect reviewers to create their own account and password, or is it preferable for me to provide test user and password info?
Yeah, definitely want to provide test user and password info. We expect that. As a matter of fact, if you don't, you've got to reject. So if you require a login, just submit in those notes, provide the user name and password so the reviewers can test your capsule.
All right, so from Ramil Fox, I'm not too concerned about winning, more interested in getting feedback to improve a capsule. How can we talk with you after the contest ends?
Yeah, so I'd say Slack. So you should definitely join the Slack channel. And not only talk to us, we'd love to talk to you, but also there's a lot of really good conversation. I've been noticing more and more of this, that just among all of you yourself and things. Frankly, sometimes you guys have better answers now than I do. So that's our primary mode of communication, kind of there. And we're considering how we do these kind of office hours open Q&A going forward. I think they have some value. But yeah, definitely join Slack, start the conversation there, and we'll move on from that.
Okay, so Vinayak is clarifying his question from earlier. We created a couple of capsules which gives users live scores of EPL and the Italian Premier League, but they're not reviewed because there are no live soccer matches going on to show the data from.
Oh, yeah. This has come up before. This is really tricky, actually, because how do we tell if it works when it's not there? So you're going to have to work with the reviewer in providing some kind of way to get sample data. Maybe you have an API you can create, and when you use a particular phrase or something, it calls that mocked up API to provide that data so they can see it works. And I'd say that's best practice, right? Yeah, this has come up before. Some things around like weather I was searching for wildfires or hurricanes, and they didn't exist, and so we had them make sure that the developer can see it in action by providing a mocked up API, which is kind of best practice for development anyway, because you want to be able to test your development that way. So this is a case where I tell the reviewer exactly what's happening and why, and we're using here's how you enable the mocked up API, and we'll work with you.
Okay. So he says that it's built on a previous template that they submitted, which was approved. Okay. So, all right, we have a few more minutes left for Q&A before we hop into the raffle. So any last minute questions, toss them here. Otherwise, we can just say we're excited to see you guys to submit your stuff basically by tomorrow, right, Roger?
Yeah. Get it in. If you haven't ASAP there, please ask any questions now. Go to Slack, ask questions there. And I'll just say I'm super excited. We've seen some really, really cool stuff. So I like seeing what you guys have built. A lot of it's super fun and super interesting. And I've seen some really innovative things. So I'm really excited about it.
Okay, and actually Vinayak says that there's a live match tomorrow, so maybe you'd have to actually get it reviewed during the matches themselves.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't know, Vinay, if you've, why don't you mention that in Slack and mention the name of your capsule, and then we can take a look at that. Yeah. Sorry, those are really tricky. It's how do you review something when there's no backing data for it? But that's a good idea.
All right. Next question from Ramil Fox. Please discuss about post-event marketing about all the submissions. Will you do some sort of write-up or marketing?
Yeah. So there's a couple. We definitely will. Exactly. So one of the things that I'll just share some thoughts and ideas we have, but nothing shared in concrete, is around creating some videos that show kind of a bunch of, highlighting a capsule or a series of capsules and how they all work. And then getting people excited that way. But we'll definitely be, right? Our job is to promote Bixby development. Part of that is to promote what's already been built to entice people. So those videos, there are a few, for those in the Bixby Premier Developer Program, we've definitely written some articles in our blog about that. Post on social media, tag it with Bixby or Bixby developers. I'll try to, and I will try to retweet what I see, and any else on our team. But yeah, I would say stay tuned. We have some interesting ideas around promotion that are coming up.
Okay, so I think we have time for these last two questions. Any more questions, please post them in our Slack channel. What capsule is in the marketplace today that you would consider a contender for grand prize?
Wow. That's a little bit of a loaded question and things like that. I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to give you some broad thinking on that. It would be, I think the winner is one of two things. I think it's a capsule where the judges are going to use it and they're going to be like, man, I want this on my phone today. Like, I got to have it. It's super useful. It would make my life better to have it. That's a really winning idea. The other one is if it's super fun and entertaining, right? Where it's like, wow, I'm laughing or I'm enjoying this or having fun using it. And it really, really is attractive that way. So in my mind, super useful or super fun are two big giant criteria there for a winning capsule.
All right, and the last question from Hassan Y. If it's submitted by tomorrow, but during the review gets rejected, is it over? No other chances?
I would never say no other chance, but I'll say you're behind a bunch of other reviews, so you can go ahead and resubmit it. But your chances, they do go down. But keep on submitting things, and don't stop because there's always a chance there.
All right. So let's do the raffle now.
Okay, we're gonna switch over to I think we're gonna.
Oh, I'll just hop over to your side.
Oh, are you doing it? I thought David was doing it.
Oh yeah, no, David had to dip real quick, so I'm doing it now. Let's see.
Oh, hang on.
Okay, do you have your camera on? Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. Okay. So I think they can see me. Hey guys, I'm doing the raffle, not David.
All right. Jonathan's doing the raffle. He gets to do all the fun part.
Yes, very exciting. So I'm going to ask Bixby to pick a number. For today's raffle, there are 118 entries.
118.
Yes, 118. Okay. Pick a number between 1 and 118. Okay.
Just double checking my math. All right, looks like your number is 86.
86. Let me go look at the list. That is for M. Mendez for making the capsule Dog Facts. Congratulations.
M. Mendez for Dog Facts. Yay.
Yes. Woohoo. Okay, we're going to do another one. Give me a random number between 1 and 118.
1 second, just double checking my math. All right, looks like your number is 60.
60. Okay, 1 second. That is going to be John Trung for Neptune Facts.
All right, John Chung, Neptune Facts, you are the winner.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to those two winners. So guys, like I said, if you haven't submitted, get those things in. Love to see what you're doing. Get it in ASAP. Good luck. And we can continue the conversation on Slack. But thank you so much. Really, really good set of questions there. I'll be talking to you guys later. All right. Thanks. Bye. And if you still have questions, I see some last minute questions coming in. We're gonna have to leave those on Slack. All right, so ask those on Slack and we'll answer any questions that didn't get answered or are last minute questions. All right.